I'll stand here. Gather round. Oh, someone's watered my pot. So hi everyone, thanks very much for coming. So you all know about composting, so I'm sure I don't need to explain that to you. But what you do with this system, and I'll try and go slow so Danny can translate.
And Winnie.
And Winnie. So with your grass clippings that you've got on the top now, or your straw like you've got here, just remove some of that to expose the soil underneath. Oh look, some nice cardboard there too, I like that. That's good.
好的，我们找一块地，然后呢把它那个翻开，然后呢准备就是要怎么去安装这个 system， 就是这个小的 compost bin。OK。
So you dig a little hole. Now this is nice and soft. So I probably won't need my power planter, but we'll see. You're going to have a bit of extra soil.
以后挖个洞，把那个泥挖出来。
Look at the worms. Look at the worms. Look. I just got a worm there. Look at that whopper. Look at
Wow, look at worm. How good is that?
That's awesome. Beautiful soil.
非常好的土啊，这么多蚯蚓。
That is, that's really good.
这么好的土是不是就不用装这个了？不用拿一下。
Oh, they're everywhere.
好，装完更好。
I should have dug the hole first.
I'll come back.
Oh no, it's just time. This is a very easy hole to dig though.
Soil looks beautiful.
Yeah,
I'll just see if this fits in now. Maybe a little tiny bit more.
Nice and neat, isn't it? One of those big.
The camera there.
There's lots so many worms. Isn't there? There's a big root in here.
Fish here.
Incredible soil. I think that will do. So plant your pot in the ground, level with the ground. You want it to be invisible in the garden.
把那个放进去，然后呢平跟这个土是要平的，这个盖跟那个土平。
Backfill, just to fill it back up. Take some of these. Oh, look at the big worms.
Yeah. You want some food for him?
Okay, so did someone have some scraps?
Yeah.
Yes.
Stinky already.
That's all right.
这是厨余啊，我们也带来的厨余。厨余。
Now you can use this pot two different ways. You can use it just for worm-friendly food like Astrid has brought here. And I don't chop anything up. Astrid does.
Yep.
And she likes to put some EMO bran in it to help break it up.
Not often.
Okay. I don't do that. I soak my scraps in wastewater. So anything I'm throwing down the drain that hasn't got detergent in it, I put that in with my scraps and I soak the scraps overnight or for however long I've got time to do it for.
它这样子，它这个是有两个方法，一个方法呢是用来是做蚯蚓的，然后就像它那样把那个厨余放进去，然后呢，Astrid 已经把它 chop 了，然后他说是不 chop 也可以的，是吧？然后就是他把它切碎了，他其实他说不切碎也是可以的。
So when Astrid does a lot of juicing, when you get a lot of juice content like this, all the moisture is being sucked out of it. So I actually find it better to put it in your wastewater because it sort of reconstitutes it and puts that moisture back in that waste and makes it easier for worms and other critters to eat. But you do what works for you in your garden. So Astrid only puts worm-friendly food in hers. I put everything in mine. My meat, my dairy, citrus, onions, oil, everything. Absolutely everything.
Oil too.
它
That's
这
a
个
good one.
compost bin 呢，跟我们家里的另外的有点不一样。这个是可以放任何东西，包括就是厨余、叶子，然后呢，连它的那个牛奶的制品，还有这个肉都可以放。但是我们如果在家里的那个大的 compost bin 呢，肉啊，那些啊是这个是不能放的。但这个它是可以放的，还有鱼啊、肉啊都可以放。
什么都可以。
他刚才是说你有2种办法，一个办法呢就是说你只放那种适合虫子吃的，就只放蔬菜啊、水果啊这些多余的家里面多余的东西。这就是刚才那位女士这么做的，她自己呢什么都放，鱼啊、肉啊，只要反正是厨房用的东西，她都放进去，然后她也不洗，也不切那个 extra 的话，她就切碎了。然后呢，一般她都要用水先泡一泡，就看你有多长时间，有时候你泡1个晚上，有时候你就泡那么几个小时。
Okay, so that's one way to do it, worm-friendly food. The other way is everything, your meat, your dairy, citrus, onions, oil, absolutely everything. However, this is in a community garden. So if you put meat in there in a community garden, first of all you need to soak your meat because you don't want that smell attracting wildlife. So when you soak your scraps in water, it ferments the waste. And that fermentation smell keeps the bush turkeys away, little antechinus, generally speaking dogs. Of course it depends on your dog, and if you've got a dog at home you can put your dog poo in there as well, but not in your veggie garden. Put that around your ornamental plants where you know that any medication are not going to affect your veggies.
Sorry.
Put possum in there and keep the possum away. Yeah, it will.
他说就是说你要是放肉啊，就是这个的话可以放洋葱啊，还有所有的那种植物的那些剩余的东西。但是如果说你要放肉啊，还有放那些其他的那种肉制品的话，要用水先泡过。这样的话就把那个气味给去掉，要不然的话会引起其他动物来，比如说老鼠啊或者其他的动物来。How long does it need to be soaked?
Okay, I say do it for as long as you can tolerate. So if it starts to smell, because some things smell quicker than others, like cat food stinks overnight, it's terrible stuff. But I can leave mine for 5 days quite comfortably, covered in water,
okay.
And it shouldn't smell unless of course you put meat in there or things that will generally smell quicker. So do it for as long as you can tolerate, and then either go and empty it straight away or add more wastewater. That will dilute the odour and that buys you a couple more days, so you can then do it on the weekend when you've got time. Now, if you were bringing that to your community garden, you wouldn't necessarily want to bring a big bucket full of water and waste. So I would tip the water out in your garden before you leave. So then you're just bringing the wet, moist, fermented contents. You can bring the water with you if you want, but that could be a bit tricky in a car.
That's for gardening, or?
Well, you know, when you say you've got a bucket on your kitchen sink at home, and you're putting all your scraps in there, and when you cook your peas or your pasta, you put your water in there. Anything you're rinsing out to go in your recycle bin, you put your water in with your scraps.
Okay.
So let's say your pot gets full of water and scraps. That's going to be a bit messy to put in your car. What if your car, you know, you tip over in your car or something?
Why would you put it in your car? Wouldn't you put it in your garden?
Yeah, to bring it here.
Oh, to here. Okay, we're talking about at home. Okay.
有个社区菜园啊，所以呢，如果在家的话呢，我们不要做这个，
不用做这个程序。Okay.
Only if you're bringing it here.
Okay.
Yeah, to put in your own garden, just go and tip it in your pot, and then you lock your lid on. Now you can lock your lid on this way, you'll fit more in, or you can lock it on this way, and then it's really hidden in the garden. The little lock, that keeps little tiny kids out and dogs generally. And some dogs though, you've got to know your dog. And then you get your straw, just cover it up. There, it is hidden in your garden. So no compost
So
taking up
soak
space.
for a few days until you can tolerate the smell, or doesn't matter.
Only
That's
meat
what I
or
do.
if it, yeah.
No need,
Okay.
no need.
I suggest
Only
no
here.
meat for the community garden.
Only
Yeah.
coming
Okay.
down, so don't, yeah.
Not to worry about the
Don't need
meat.
to do that.
Okay.
I would suggest that too. No
Yes,
meat for the
no meat
community
for the
garden.
community
And no
garden.
dairy.
Yeah, no dairy.
Probably either.
Okay, but
that
we all
for
do it
your
at home, so
garden.
not to worry about
no
that.
worry.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Because
Uh,
you're not exposed to all the same
Do we need to
elements.
still soak it if we put in the household, the vegetables, the veggies, the leftover veggies? Do we still soak it?
You can do either way. Like if you're doing it just for worms, you don't need to soak it.
Yeah.
If you're doing it and you want to attract this little bug called the soldier fly.
Yeah.
Now, it's a little bit cold here now, so he might not be around. But come summertime, when the soldier fly finds their way in there, they lay their larvae on the top here. You don't even see them. Really tiny. And they find their way in. They will eat everything you give them.
Okay.
So if you haven't got the soldier fly in there in summer, then you need to add some fermented bread or wheat to attract them. So they love fermented food. So in your back garden, fermenting your food is perfect. In this community garden, if you're just doing fruit and veg, you don't necessarily need to ferment it. But if you find, say like bush turkeys, they love fresh pineapple. So if they smell that, I don't know if you've got any around here, that might attract them. You don't want to be attracting animals to your garden. So I recommend that you ferment it, but you don't have to. I would try it first. I would do one without and one with and see what works better for you, and then stick with that method. And in your own back garden, do whichever method you like.
OK， 就是两种办法，一种呢就是把那些家里边剩余的菜叶啊，还有不要的那些什么果皮、树皮啊什么之类的放进去。两种办法，如果你要喂蚯蚓的话，那就不用泡水，就直接放到那个盒子里边。然后另外一种办法呢，就是你先泡水，泡水了以后呢，再倒进去。这样的话，就是有一种虫子就会过来，是吧？那种虫子反正对种菜有好处了。反正就是两种办法，然后你把它倒进去了以后，把那个盖子一放上去，扭过来，它就锁住了。锁住了以后呢，再把这些表面的东西把它盖上去，就给它看不到。
狗有拿不了。
狗也会抛不开。
对对，
猫啊什么的，还有夏天的时候会有苍蝇，你盖一下它的话，苍蝇会少一点。
没有。
Okay.
Yep.
Any?
Vicky, you don't have to put soil inside.
No. And generally speaking, once you've filled it up, then all you need to do is keep topping it up. And that's why it helps to have a couple around the garden, so you just rotate filling them. And just keep topping them up, and it will just keep disappearing into the soil. Now, even with the soldier flies, the difference between the worms and the soldier flies is that the worms will fill the pot up with soil. So you'll find you have to empty it more often.
对，不是粪就是养料。
They just keep emptying
自然的肥料。
So that's why you can just keep topping it up. So come summertime and you've got those soldier flies in there, you will notice a big difference, how quickly it empties. And sometimes if you've just got fruit and veg in there, it can be completely empty within a week. So it all depends, like what Astrid gave me there, that would be gone in a week because she chopped it all up. I don't chop anything up, but Astrid does. So you've got to work out what works for you. For me, I want quick and easy. I don't want a lot of work. So for me, I just toss everything in a bucket, add my wastewater, put the lid on. When the bucket's full, then I come and empty it. So work out what works for you. And you can do it either way, with the water, without the water. If you just want worms, then it must be just worm-friendly food. If you want to attract the soldier fly, then you can put everything in there, in your backyard, in your community garden. Don't bring it with them. Oh, well, you could try it with the meat and the dairy and see what happens. Because it's fermented, it may not make a difference.
We don't want the May.
Attract fruit flies?
Sometimes you get a few little flies in there, but I don't worry about them. I just toss everything in on top, lock it up, walk away. Because even if they do get in, they really don't get out. And that fermentation smell seems to detract lots of things as well, and ants as well. Whereas you'll find with fresh waste, you may get more ants. But when you've got that fermented waste, that usually attracts the ants as well.
Another thing, newspaper and paper, I mash it up, you know, through the shredder and I stick it in there. So
you can do that if you want, if you've got just the worms in there, even with the soldier flies, but it takes a long time to break down. So I actually think you're better doing what everyone's done here and put your cardboard, your wet cardboard and your paper on your garden. And as long as you're keeping that moist, the worms will come up and eat that. So for me, don't use up valuable space in your pot with paper. Spread that on your garden.
on the garden.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, so I shred it, soak it in water and then put it in
Because
there.
they're unbelievably efficient. Soldier flies will eat anything and everything you throw at them. So that's why you can put meat in there, dairy, citrus, onions, oil. It's unbelievable.
They don't contribute anything to the general health of the garden. Like
yes, they do. Yes, they do. The leachate that they produce comes off into the soil. That's already in solution, ready for your plants to access. And it's also very easy then for the worms to digest and then turn it into worm poo. And of course, all that is basically like worm juice coming into your soil. If you actually wanted to make worm tea, because you know if you've got a worm farm, you can actually make worm tea. The way to make worm tea with this is when you've collected a bit of soil, just let it sit for a month, make sure everything's decomposed, scoop it out, put it in a bucket of water, let it sit overnight and you've got worm tea.
It's easy fix instead of worrying about...
Exactly, so if you've got a worm farm and the soldier flies get into your worm farm, they'll crowd out your worms. Or they'll eat all the food and your worms won't have any food to eat. And then come winter time, above ground they can hibernate if it gets too cold. So there's nothing then working in your worm farm over winter. And I saw on Facebook, God love Facebook, a lady, the soldier flies got into her worm farm, clogged up her tray at the bottom, it got full of juice and she had to empty the whole thing out because the worms died, they drowned, and it was a big mess. But in here, they all look after themselves. The soldier flies bury out through the soil. If it's too cold, they'll hibernate in the soil. So they look after themselves, and when they pupate, they fly away, they mate, and then they die. They lay their larvae and then they die. So
Is it a good idea to rotate the spot where you put it in?
You can absolutely do that if you've got the time to dig holes. I don't have time to keep digging holes. So I just leave mine where they are. And I've got a couple of customers that do that. They move them around their garden, say once every 6 months, once a year. But don't do it too often because you want to really... Now, your soil here in this particular garden is beautiful. So you may not notice a big difference because it's already beautifully nourished soil. Look at these lovely plants. But by having the pot in the ground, you're getting rid of your waste. So it's not going to council into those big tips where it creates that methane and causes the problem for the environment. And also, this way you're putting that nutrients back into the soil all the time. So your plants aren't, over time plants deplete the nutrients out of the soil, but this way you're putting it back in all the time and you're keeping those nutrients constantly turning through your soil.
Would be an idea to put it at the base of a banana plant?
You can put anywhere you like.
No, but I mean, would it?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, for sure.
And we actually have our club members, Astrid, Mimi, and also Glennis. They bought this bin last time from Vicky. Now it's about 9 months already, and they give all a thumbs up, to this product.
Loving your pots,
very good.
Loving my pots. And I've got my neighbours. I've invited my neighbours to put their waste in it because, then they don't have to throw it away.
We just clean this, right, from the garden. So anything like this goes in there on top of that.
You can put that in as well, but you'd have to break that up. See, it's
you have to break it up.
I'll do the chopper.
Yes. Put it in.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. The other thing too is if in your home, because you've got the lid up that way, you can put it beside a big tree like your banana tree and mow straight over the top of it. And it doesn't get in the way, but you're nourishing that tree. So you can do that as well. You can also grow things with this, and this is just if you guys are a bit of gardeners here. So what you do is you get the lid like that, you fill it with some soil like this, and I use, this is beautiful soil, so I'd be using this soil, but you could use potting mix as well, and sometimes potting mix is safer because it's got a set amount of nutrients in it. So you fill your lid with your soil like this. Now I use toilet rolls. I put, oh look at that worm. I put toilet rolls in there, then I fill the toilet rolls with the soil like that, and plant your seeds in the top of the toilet rolls, water of course, put your fines on top. You know what fines are? That's just soil put through a strainer, so it comes out really fine. It strains out all the heavy big bits, and it makes it easy for the seeds to sprout up through the soil. And then put this on, like this. Hang on, let's get that over there. Exactly. Oh, it's not going to.
Sorry, when you say a strainer, just a kitchen strainer, like.
Got a rock in there or something. I'll have to edit this bit out. There we go. See, like that. And so the gases escape through the top. You can water through the top, so you don't have to keep taking it on and off all the time. But let's face it, if you're growing masses. Oh, I'm losing my clip. If you're growing masses of garden, that might not suit you, but for a bit of a backyard gardener for your herbs and a few, lettuce and veggies, it's all good. And you can use this over any plant in the garden. So, where's the little plant? Here's a plant here. So let's say you've got something and you plant it, and not everything you plant likes to be moved when you've grown it from seed. So you can put this directly over it in the garden like that, and you hold it in place with these you get 4 of these stakes, and you just hold it in place with those, and that'll just protect it while it's growing and keep all the bugs and the slugs and everything off it. And water it through the top. That's not a very good way, I didn't do that very good, but you get the idea. And the other thing is, if you're doing it on top of here, you get this little lift pin with it as well. So let's say you've got that full of your plants. I leave this little pin in there like that, and what that does, it just makes it easy to lift that up. So you can keep composting underneath while you are propagating on top.
Would you use that for propagating your plants?
Yes, that's what she's saying.
Haven't you
I thought it was just for a little.
That means seeding. That means
Could you use the soil that the worms have made and put it onto the lid?
Absolutely.
If you hadn't fed it for a little while, could you just scoop that up?
Absolutely.
And then you would have the ideal soil.
It's very rich. It's very rich.
Well, wouldn't they like it?
You mix it in with your other soil, or you'll kill your plants because it's too rich.
Okay.
Yeah, but absolutely you can do that. But sometimes that's why I say potting mix, because potting mix has got a set amount of nutrients in it. So you're less likely. Like I took the soil out one day and I put it at the base of a plant and it killed it straight away because it was just too rich. Yeah. So just be aware of that, but absolutely you can do that.
Because it's such a fine texture and everything, that's already the fine.
Exactly. When you let it sit for that month, the soil at the end of it is absolutely unbelievable.
Well, I've done it and had it when I've...
There you go.
The video stopped too soon, so thank you to the Mermaid Waters Multicultural Garden Club for having me. It was a lovely morning. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Happy compotting, and thanks for watching.